SDP, the Steve Dangle Podcast, with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Let's go!
Hey, you twos can have a stuffy of Steve, a U2 stuffy. And Jesse, what would you do with a U2 stuffy?
That's none of your business.
The implication sure seems to be have sex with it.
That's disgusting. How dare you? What is wrong with you, Steve?
Go incognito mode with
Nasty.
Steve Dangle.
Nasty ass boy.
Could you?
Nobody would ever do that.
Nobody could ever.
And you can do whatever you want with it when it's your doll.
That's right.
When you purchase it and it delivers sometime next spring, because that's because we're making them as you buy them.
Yep.
You can do whatever you want with it.
Maybe
Nothing nasty, like Steve's saying, just but whatever you want.
maybe you make your own blue room with a nice little homage to Steve and some candles underneath it.
Yeah.
Or you blow it up like Sid from Toy Story. Just
Yeah. No, I don't like that.
No?
Man, that screwed me up. In our VIP, I have another thing that I have a Harry Potter thing that would have totally messed up your childhood if they had gone this direction. In the way that Sid was blowing up the
Is
toys.
it finding out more about J.K. Rowling?
No, it's
or
not
is
about
it stuff
what
with the
author has
plot?
to say. No.
Oh,
no.
okay.
The other thing I want to mention before we get to BetMGM Big Story very quickly is that our Oshawa Generals Peterborough Pete's game is this Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby. So we're doing a show, but we're also seeing the game first. So we're going to go do the game, and we're all going to sit together, which is going to be sick, okay? And then we're going to go to the show afterwards. We talked about on the last episode, Jesse checked out the venue. He said it's sweet. Apparently, Offset was 4 hours late to his show this weekend.
Yes.
He was opening for us.
That's a lot of time.
But he was...
Not this. It was on last Thursday.
Oh, last Thursday night.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
And what is that, Adam? Which... Will they be selling books there? I'm glad you asked. So they are. We just found out we have a bookseller, so they will be selling books at the event. Isn't that great?
And one thing
Fabulous.
that I think is the best part of the whole thing is that that night's Oshawa Generals game is also their Halloween game. Oh. So people will be dressed up. If you want to come dressed up to the game and the show, we encourage that.
I'm going to go as a U2's doll.
That's funny.
You see, because I got one.
I
real
can't.
good.
What's Jesse going to do with it?
I'm going to go as noted podcaster Adam Wilde.
Adam hates Halloween.
You're going to go as a stick in the mud.
Weird thing.
It's a weird tick. I know.
Yeah.
You're going to go in as a narc.
You know what they say about fun people, Steve? They say they always hate Halloween.
They hate the funnest holiday.
Yeah.
Should I
You know
start
that
my-
thing that's just about candy and fun
No,
and dressing
that's
up?
Christmas.
Adam hates
Christmas
it.
is the funnest holiday. Don't you dare. Don't you dare.
Christmas is the drunkest holiday.
Yeah.
Is it?
I
Halloween
think so.
used to be the drunkest holiday.
Yes, but then we got older.
Yeah, that's
Now it's Christmas.
Yeah.
What does Everly think of Halloween?
Loves
Are
Halloween.
you trying to beat it out of her? Then no, Everly, you can't like Halloween.
There's nothing that she's ever loved more than Halloween. And
Okay,
I'm like,
good.
God, the only
More than her
enjoyment I get
father.
is the enjoyment I see through her. All right, let's do the BetMGM Big Story. I fully thought doing this segment that we'd be talking about the Colorado Avalanche, but they got a win.
I know.
And you know who hasn't got one is Nashville. Nashville.
Our Central Division rankings suck.
No, they're going to be great.
Yeah?
The season is not 5 games long. It's how many games long?
82 games.
A lot of games, right?
Which is an abundance.
And the thing that I wanted to kind of touch on this one, guys, is that Nashville proved to us last year that they're streaky, right?
Good.
And they saved it for the end of the year, and that's all good. But I what I'm blown away by is how little noise there is around this. You're talking about a team that added Brady Shea and Steven Stamkos and Jonathan Marchessault and had a really good, outstanding defensive performance against the Vancouver Canucks in the first round, despite losing.
And the vibes aren't even bad.
The vibes are not even bad.
Luke Shen has a goal. He's on pace for his highest goal scoring pace.
Stamkos scored, and I'm like,
Hey.
so I'm looking at this.
Shen 1,000 games.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, hey, everybody just seems to believe in them. And so it's interesting when you go through the quotes, like all they really say are, Andrew Burnett, I didn't see an 0-5 coming for this group.
You know what it is?
Like 0-5, and that's what they're saying. There'd be buildings burning right now in Toronto.
That's the crazy thing is that the sky isn't falling in Nashville.
No.
Everything is just kind of hunky dory. We're playing country music.
Well, maybe they're more reasonable. Or maybe they're liars.
Would Craig Berube still have a job if they started 0-5?
Yes.
I don't
Yes.
know.
He'd be on the hot
I
seat.
honestly don't
He'd be on the
know.
hot
He'd
seat.
be on the hot seat.
There'd be a few leaves without throats because Craig ripped them out.
Yes. Yeah.
Marner might be traded already.
No, it's
Tavares would be sent to the moon. Like it would be pandemonium.
And then reacquired.
And then
put in
reacquired.
net.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's
Definitely.
crazy. And I look at it. So they're a -13 on their goal differential, which
Dash.
it's not great.
No.
Not great, but it's not also like the thing is 0-5 as much as, that's like you're never making the playoffs in football and hockey. It's like, you could be 5-5 next week.
I think
like that's the weird thing about this sport.
this is the time of year. It's before Halloween. Halloween keeps coming up. It's before Halloween, and everyone is putting on their mid-October costume, which is reasonable sports fan. Boo. And they're very realistic with it. You almost believe them. But deep inside, you're just like me. Deep inside.
I think the Preds fans are freaking out.
Absolutely.
Jesse, what are you looking at here?
I'm looking at the Nashville Predators schedule. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, where's their get right game? They play the Bruins tomorrow on Tuesday.
That could be a good get-right game.
They play the Blackhawks on Friday in
another
Chicago. They play the Jackets on Saturday at home.
There's 3 straight wins.
I think there's an opportunity here where this streak ends. One of those 3, the Bruins, Blackhawks, or Jackets, I think they get one.
Okay, but now we get to do Steve being a fatalist. If they lose to the Bruins and they're 0-6, you lose either of those games, Blue Jackets or Blackhawks. Which one's first?
Blackhawks Friday has the potential to be the biggest game of the season.
You lose that one. Okay, so today,
Oh, man.
it's no big deal. Everything's fine.
Yep.
They lose the Bruins game and then the Blackhawks game. I think Andrew Brunette gets fired.
No,
I'm not kidding.
no way.
I'm not kidding.
No way.
No, if they lose to the Bruins on Tuesday, and then there's that gap from Wednesday, Thursday, and we get that build up Friday night in Chicago, and they lose again, everybody's gone.
Oh yeah, including Stamkos,
Marchessault,
Marchessault,
Brady
Shea.
We're going back to last year's roster.
Move the
Askarov.
team to Arizona.
Was that?
Move them to Arizona.
By the way,
Do it.
I do want to throw out there that Askarov did have back-to-back shutouts.
Where?
In the A. The A's not easy, man.
I know.
It doesn't win you any NHL games.
Well, okay. So are you betting for or against the Nashville Predators? Just to wrap the segment up. You betting for and against the Nashville Predators on Tuesday versus Boston?
Because they're the kind of quality team that makes good decisions, like not going to the Sphere.
Okay, Jesse.
I say they lose Tuesday and we get chaos Friday.
Oh.
I think that'd be
Battle of who's the better yellow.
I'm betting for the most fun outcome.
Okay, let's do it. It's the BetMGM Big Story on the SDP. Now I'm just gonna bring something up. I'm gonna bring something up before we get to Saturday night's game because we got a game tonight for the Leafs in Tampa, and I want to mention that first off, I'm streaming. Shameless plug, which would be exciting. Steve, you did Saturday night's game.
That's right.
Then you did the LFR afterwards.
That was, man, the adrenaline goes when you're streaming. And after the fact, I'm sitting there, processing. I'm like, man, that game kind of sucked.
It did. Well,
It wasn't great.
Here's a note about tonight's game. Tonight's Leafs versus Lightning game will feature exclusively on Prime Video viewers for Canada, obviously. The broadcast will debut something called Home Ice Access. It's a new 45-minute pregame show that features live views from the rink, fan arrivals, player warm-ups, and more. Imagine that.
45 is
They're
quite
localized.
the pregame.
45 is a little much.
45. Well, it's usually, isn't it like, doesn't Sportsnet and TSN, they do like Sports Center and then they do a half an hour
30
pregame and then it's a 15-minute like thing from 7 to 7:15. Game starts at 7, but the NHL's like, yeah, we'll like wait till puck drop because they never start on time, right? They never start on time.
No.
So I think 45 minutes is literally what it already is. It's just that Amazon's being honest about it. Do you know what I'm saying? And I was less
get
focused on the 45-minute pregame thing. I'm more focused on the fact that they are localizing a Leaf game.
Ooh.
Imagine they're going to show some stuff from warmups and they're going to show fan arrivals. And they're going to show stuff that happens in Toronto at a Leafs game.
Maybe they'll even get up and cheer when the
I would
Leafs
prefer
score.
they just talk about the Senators or the Canadians or something like that. That's my preference. That's how, if I were framing a show, actually, you know what? Why don't we talk about literally anything else but the Leafs for a Leafs broadcast? That's what I prefer.
Oh, yeah?
As a producer, that's what I would go for.
Now, what I'm picking up on is that you're alluding to something.
I'm alluding to the fact that you're going to see them, because this is what they did on the first game too. They put them at the game in Montreal. They put them there. They're going to put them at the Leaf game too. Physically, they're going to be there. It's cool.
What if Amazon doesn't make money off this?
Man, they're sunk.
You think there's going to be layoffs?
I think they're sunk. All right, now let's talk about Saturday night. You run into
We have to.
You run into good goalies from time to time. And Shesterkin was very, very good. He was himself.
Yep.
But one thing that Craig Berube said that I thought stood out was we didn't make life difficult enough for him.
No, Adam. I think what should happen is you take on the best goalie in the world, right? And when he makes saves, you throw your hands in the air and go, there's nothing we can do about it. I think that's how you handle good goalies. Listen, Igor Shesterkin's unreal. He made some truly incredible saves.
That glove save was insane.
Windmill, mustard, just really good staples of what you expect a good goalie to do. All that cookie cutter good positioning crap, give me a stupid windmill. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, same old problem. And if this team had a weakness, if this team had something that bit them in the butt when the games mattered most every year, it's that. And I know it's October, and I know it's not the playoffs. That's why you don't freak out about it right now, but you just put it down in your little notebook and go, still not doing it, and you focus on it going forward. They're not, like, what did it take? Like, Colorado, I brought up because they were 0-4 or whatever it was. They're taking on the Ducks. They're still winless. They're down 2-0 to the Ducks. They come back and tie it. And what did it take in overtime for them to finally get a win? Nathan McKinnon just going 1-on-3 and screw it. Is that sustainable?
No.
Is that's what the coach drew up?
No, I don't think
We're
so.
going to make Nate do everything? That's.
I mean, that is their game plan this year until we know what's going on with Landeskog and Nichushkin. But
apparently. But, like, Matthews, superstars get you goals you don't deserve. Superstars get you goals you don't expect. That's what the Matthews goal was in this one. Like, he just goes behind the net. It's Adam Fox. And he just goes, give me that shit. And then he goes in front and he beats Shesterkin on his own. You're lucky to get one of those a game. You don't even get them every game, right? Okay, so what else? When you're not getting the superstar goals, how else do you generate offense? Anyone? Bueller? I think your coach might have mentioned it. Is it in your notes? Go to the net.
So then, Jesse and Steve, and I want to ask you guys this: who on this team in this lineup, and we're talking about the Saturday night lineup, not the Monday night lineup. Who on this team can do that? We saw Marner skate through and do it perfectly against the Los Angeles Kings last week. Now the Kings are a little bit weak on the goaltending end, but I think even in even with a great goalie, that's a tough shot to save with Marner literally blocking you.
Kemper couldn't see it, or whoever it was in that.
Rittich.
No, it wasn't Kemper. Rittich, or it might have been Copley on that one. Copley. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if it's George Vezina. You can't see it, right? No, I really liked Marner. Nyes can do that. Tavares used to be able to do that.
We'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that. Domi's a feisty player. That's not really what he does. He can. Got a goal against the Bruins in the playoffs like that. Lorentz can probably do it. I don't know if he plays high enough in the lineup to do that, but it's not a particularly long list. Willie can do it. It's not a long list.
Jesse?
Yeah, I think it's interesting that the Leafs currently rank fourth actually in shots for per game.
That's great.
But in terms of goals for per game, they're 17th. So you look at, they're getting a lot of shots, but the goals aren't going in at the same rate as their shot rate, which means they're not doing enough to get those goals in, which goes back to the conversation.
So long term, you expect that to come out in the wash.
Sure.
Long term, you expect team gets a ton of shots, should probably score a ton of goals. Every team is going to score on a within a couple percentage points of their shots, whatever the percentage is. Let's say 12. Some teams are going to do 10. Some teams might do 14. It's not going to be huge. So the beginning, middle, end of the story is get more shots. But in a vacuum, in that one game, it's hard to beat the best goalie in the world. But if you're going to do it, that's how you do it. And they didn't do it.
And I think because we have such a small sample size of the season, it's 5 games in, we can go to the exact instances where that discrepancy was created. It's game 1. Sam Montembeault is a great goaltender in that game, at least, and makes a whole bunch of stops and he shuts out the Leafs. Game 5, Igor Shesterkin stops them when they're getting a whole bunch of shots. And it goes back to game 7 against the Bruins, where they lose it by 1 goal and they're doing a lot of stuff, but they can't beat these good goaltenders. And that's something they need to learn to do, because if you're going to win anything in this league, you're going to have to get through good goaltending. And that's just, teams have that. That is a factor in a lot of good teams. So they have to learn to win these games where they can't buy a goal, but they somehow get one through these good goaltenders.
I have a question about that. The ethos of this organization for about a decade, and it worked in a lot of respects, so I'm not trying to take away from it, was what we're talking about. Shot volume, possession volume. That's how yes. I know you're sort of looking. Yes. And there are so many times where it's like, well, but the Leafs had so much possession that game. It's like, yeah, because they were back passing to themselves and fucking off in the defensive zone. But they maintained possession. Thank God.
What did Keefe say behind the scenes?
Well, hold on though. I'm wondering if, and I agree with you. Keefe did say this. I'm wondering if they had, maybe Keith didn't have the agency or the credibility or whatever it is to get them to do it with the rosters he was given, which are very different than the roster that Craig Berube's been given as well. Like, I don't know how many Keefe teams had a power forward on it, like Bobby McMahon. You know what I mean? Like, not many, right?
Not a lot. There are a bunch of guys they tried to put in that role. Well, Hyman.
Other than Hyman, though.
I'm just so sad.
But Hyman was not a run you over type of forward, right?
You know what? He doesn't have any points. Trade?
Yeah, probably.
Trade?
So I think my point is it trying, guys? Are they trying to break the Leafs of a organizational thing that they were taught from a young age? And that is a lot of the guys who have been around this long, which is, they used to do this thing where it's like, why are you rushing the play? Slow down, get set up, and then make the play. But what we found was teams are like, oh, they're going to be super slow setting up their play, so we will be very quick to get our defensive systems in place and completely knock them out. And now Craig Berube is like, pick up the pace, boys. We got to move. And so that's another one where I'm like, I wonder if the shot volume thing and the lack of bodies in front of the net comes from a flaw in their previous plan that has to be sort of unlearned or updated.
It could be. It could also be, I mean, it's definitely, that's part of it. Rangers deserve a ton of credit. Like,
well, they're a good hockey team.
There's such a, well, you know what's funny about the playoffs is first round starts and you go, wow, the league's full of good teams.
Except for Washington last year.
Except for Washington.
Yeah.
And then,
no offense.
So there's
You're better
15. There's 15 out of
15,
16.
yeah.
It's really good.
And LA when they play Edmonton.
And then the narrative changes in the conference final, like especially if one team, like it's not a tight series, it quickly becomes there are 2 good teams.
Yeah.
And I saw too many people during the Eastern Conference final go, the Rangers just aren't that good. And I'm like, I think you might be incorrect.
No, there's tiers to the good of the team.
Yeah, you could argue there were games where Carolina outplayed them and the Rangers won anyway. Fine. The Rangers began...
Rod Brind'Amour would make that argument.
Yes.
Every day of the week.
Rangers...
We deserve to win.
Rangers began their series against Florida getting outplayed and winning, and then ultimately Florida just overcame them, overwhelmed them, overpowered them. They're a crazy good team. There's so much more than just Igor.
Like, would you say Dallas isn't a good team?
Well, it's funny because, but they outshot Edmonton. in the elimination games. Whoa. No, it changes over the course of the playoffs. Pay attention to it this year if you remember. The league's just full of so many good teams, and is my team even close? I don't know. And by about the Final Four, you're like, nope, there's two. There's two good teams in the entire league. There's 30 bad ones. Just different degrees of bad, and then there's two contenders, and we'll see which one of them wins the cup. No, the Rangers were stupid good last year. They're really, really good this year. They move the puck so incredibly well. And I think I do think the Leafs are playing better. I'm trying to think of how to word this. They're playing better. There's an obvious air of the standard has been raised. And whenever the standard is missed, there's a tightness to the team. Holmberg, you felt that for a few games. I think he knows. You know what I mean? Like there was that bad, the penalty kill goal he was on the ice for.
He also ran into Matthews. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Just an accidental line. He's in his own head.
Yeah. And I saw people, they're pointing out Robertson's stats, and no, they're not good.
I don't think anybody would argue that Robertson hasn't played well. I just don't think he's had any looks. And I think it's because they're still trying to figure out the third line. That's a spot we're going to go later. But
okay, fine. I would say the standard has been raised. And the guys who can't meet that standard are going to find themselves on the outside looking in pretty quick.
Yes. Yeah. And to that point, okay, so since we're headed in that direction anyway, gentlemen, I wanted to ask you about this. So Holmberg, I was the one on Friday. I felt Holmberg was just having not a great start. I'm like, what's your role? What do you do? And I know that, in the past, this team has kept guys in the lineup, not because they were producing at 5-on-5, but because they could kill penalties.
And they filled a certain role. Yeah.
Well, but here's the problem with that is that when you do that, and you ignore what they do on 5-on-5, you're keeping them on the ice for essentially 6 or 7 minutes of the game. And what about the other 50? And when they don't look good in the other 50, what's the point?
Well, and he's maybe their worst penalty killer.
Well, yeah.
Right
you
now.
got Matthews and Marner, who actually look spectacular on the PK.
That whole line.
It's so great.
They're killers.
I
love it.
I love that they got Matthews on the PK, but I'm less concerned about Holmberg. You
meant that penalty killing line?
Yes.
Sorry, I thought you meant the whatever. Yeah.
Well,
we agree.
That's a guy that I think needs to come out. Ryan Reeves is going to come out tonight, so Pacioretty will be back in.
He is?
Pacioretty will be back in. I don't know what the lines are going to be, but we know Reeves will be out. Pacioretty back in. But
Pacioretty can score those greasy goals.
A guy that we have to monitor this year, and I've been completely, fully on this person's team since the beginning, is John Tavares.
Wait, if Pacioretty's in for Ryan Reeves, that means Holmberg stays in the lineup.
Yeah, Holmberg goes to the fourth line, though, which I think is a better spot for him. But him and Compton,
that's surprising.
That's where offense goes to die. Like, you're not going to... Not that you need it, I guess.
We're looking at Robertson and his lack of scoring. We're looking at Holmberg, and he's a step behind. But if you remember, at the end of the game, the fourth line ended up... Like, Lorentz got briefly promoted, but it ended up being, I think, Lorentz, Kampf, Holmberg.
Yeah. And Brube gave them a couple extra shifts, too, at the end there.
They need to score. And
the fourth line?
No, or the whole team.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say, so you take Reeves out and put in Holmberg. Like I don't know if that's gonna fix everything.
You have better chance offensively, I think, with Holmberg in there over Reeves.
It's not Reeves Holmberg. It's Pacioretty Reeves.
But then Pacioretty's going up to the third line.
Yes.
It'll be Pacioretty, Tavares, Robertson.
Right.
Which
so Holmberg goes down to 4.
Which I wanted to talk to you guys about because Tavares has been struggling. And
he doesn't look good.
And, it could be a slow start, but he logged 10 minutes and 4 seconds of 5-on-5 time versus the Rangers. And this is a key factor because, it's not Los Angeles. It's not Montreal, no disrespect. This is a team that was in the East Final. This is a test. Every time you play a team that went to the third round and is just about the same team as they were last year, it's a test. 5-on-5, he logged 10 minutes, and he did 16 total minutes overall, just under, I guess. And only Nick Robertson and Ryan Reeves played less at 5-on-5 than John Tavares.
If pace is the name of the game, he's in trouble. Like, I mean, look who's ahead of him, right? It's Domi. It's Max Domi.
He's doing a great job with it.
He's doing a great job. Like, that's a flawed player.
Sure.
It's a flawed player. You don't really trust him in the defensive end. Do you trust Tavares?
I like what I'm seeing from Max in the defensive end this year.
He's definitely put an effort into it. He's faster. His playmaking rate is stupendous. Mm-hmm. He's feisty. He's in 5 games he's got 1 dumb penalty. That was a dumb one the other night, but that's okay. It's Max. You take the good with the bad. Max is not necessarily a driver. He's a really good complementary piece. So is Bobby McMahon. The driver of that line is Willie.
Absolutely.
The third line. Well, it's not Robbie. It's not Pontus. Who is it? It's JT. In the year of our Lord, 2024.
But can you? So, and this is where I think that they've stapled him to Marner or Nylander for the past 2 years.
Nylander and Marner have been stapled to him.
I agree, but what I mean is that I think they help to elevate. Right? He's a good disher. He's good to get in front of the net. I mean, especially with Nylander. Nylander's a good shooter. So you get your tips and your rebounds and all that stuff. But I want to throw this at you. The Leafs have won, because he's not playing with those guys right now, the Leafs have won just 39% of the expected goals with Tavares on the ice this year.
Not good
he
enough.
only trails Holmberg. And his worst night statistically was against the Kings.
Ugh. What?
Yes. Now, small sample sizes, but all we have is what we have. And so like, I wonder, and this is why I wanted to talk about Pacioretty with Robertson and Tavares, is you need Robertson to regain some of the form you saw in the preseason. You need Tavares to be Tavares. We know that he's not the player he was when he signed here, but that was not the point. This is the last year of the deal. And then you got Pacioretty. Those are offensively minded players. If you can get that line going, I feel pretty good about that matchup against most teams' third lines.
Yeah, if you can get it going, though. Like, I'm looking at the way he's playing out there, and he's a step behind everything. And I'm like, okay, how do we get him on the wing? Like,
Well, that's also been suggested for a long time.
do you put him in McMahon's spot? Tavares, Domi. Well, yeah,
He's not fast enough.
And McMahon's playing great, and also, yeah, like, those players are not similar at all.
Domi, Nylander, and McMahon are all fast. He can't.
It's not a matter of can Tavares live up to the 11 mil. Like, it's year 7 of 7. We know he can't. And that's fine. You make peace with it. He's going to be adequate. He wants to stay. Why? Like, okay, at this point in your career, you got to prove why this team should keep you and keep you ahead of time. Like, they don't have to sign him until July 1st.
Well, I don't think that extension gets done in the season.
Well,
I think they wait till the playoffs.
This is what I'm saying. Like, and like, what's the number? Is it 7 per year?
Is Claude Giroux's number, whatever he's making in Ottawa?
Absolutely the fuck not.
No,
Are you kidding?
Claude Giroux has been a very good player.
He has. No,
in
but
Ottawa.
that's, is that a number? Like, I'm just trying to think of older players that have signed and are still productive.
Like,
Pavelski's number in Dallas, whatever that was.
That was 7, I think.
I don't think it can approach that. I think
Giroux is 6.5.
Giroux 6.5.
That's not.
That
not.
seems expensive for Tavares.
Yeah.
Unless you feel like he's our third line center in an era where we're approaching $100 million cap. That's 6.5% of your cap when it gets to $100 million. I don't want to do the math at 92.5. Do you feel like, hey, that's a pretty fair amount for a veteran centerman who plays well on defense when he can get there? I mean, listen. This is 5 games. We could see a completely different John.
Oh, before the season, I said he was going to score 30 goals or more. Because last year, I think he had 29 and he had a poor shooting percentage. I don't think this is necessarily who he's going to be going forward. But, I mean, if anyone's got to... Like, I don't know what it is. Like, you take the C off him, all right, I got less responsibility or whatever. There was one play in particular in the neutral zone we were talking about where it's like, what the fuck was that? Like, what?
Yeah, it was a play through the middle where The puck was on JT's backhand. He had one hand on the stick, and it was a simple move it to your forehand, go up the ice, and turn it the other way and enter the zone. And he just got the puck poked off of his stick in a very simple way. And I think a quicker player just makes the play and is entering the puck into the zone.
And it's the Rangers. Those guys are quick. They're very quick. They're aggressive on the puck, and you fall asleep for a second, and the puck is gone. Like, I'm sorry, like, it's anyone with any kind of competitive nature was looking at that game like, yep, that's a measuring stick game. We're doing well. They're doing well. They won the President's Trophy last year. We have aspirations of doing the same. Get up for that game. It just didn't look like a player up for it. And I know he's not like a particularly excitable guy, but geez, you on the third line should be a murderer.
Yeah, especially if Berube is deploying them against the third line. You know, if you're line matching, you're giving Tavares opportunities to succeed, and they're still not being successful. Then we know here you're not what you used to be.
Did you, Jesse, get a sense when you were down there, because you're going to be down there tonight? You're down there on every Saturday. You're there for morning. Did you get a sense of after the game any sort of feel when it comes to this particular issue?
With Tavares
Yeah.
itself? No, it wasn't a topic of conversation.
Okay.
John Tavares' play. It was more on the fact that they're a good team and that's not an excuse for losing, and that they didn't do enough to win the game, which I think has always kind of been the line that they give, but is the correct line. Like, you can't be complimenting.
You are going to lose to good teams.
You are. You're not going to go
Sure.
82-0 for sure. And
Yeah.
then the conversation was also around Holmberg. Berube was asked about that directly, but no, there's no JT conversation, because I think people understand that he's not going to, I don't think there's a healthy scratching coming here like Michael Bunting or anything like that.
Yeah, that's
Tavares?
That's wild.
No, I don't think so.
That's why it's not a dire situation with Tavares, because he's expiring at the end of this year and there's a decision to be made, but it's going to be a decision that unfolds over the course of this season. There's going to be a long arc to this.
I'm not interested in yard sailing the season, though. Like,
Right.
he'll be gone later. No, like,
I want him to succeed.
I want him to succeed. Like, to me, I look at the game, and I think there's a few questions you ask at the end of every game, especially a loss. What was their main factor for winning? Well, Igor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that one's easy. Did anyone wear the goat horns on the Leaf side? Like, was anyone kind of liable for either goal? Well, that's why Holmberg got talked about so much, because that didn't look very good. Then number 3 is, like, is there an overarching issue that's not necessarily, like, it's not what cost you the game, but if it continues going forward, it's going to be a problem. Tavares. Mm-hmm. He's got to be better.
When we were doing our season previews, I was like, hey, I think the Leafs need a center. And I just didn't expect it would be not like I thought.
You have Matthews, Domi, Tavares.
Well,
that should be way more than enough.
I thought that Domi was a winger on this team because he was last year and he was great with Matthews. And then
thought Nylander was a center because they told us.
Yeah. I thought they needed a center. I just didn't think it would be this early and a Tavares conversation about whether this can continue.
Right. Other things the Leafs could be looking at, because it's the reason it's not really a conversation. If you look at some of the underlying numbers for John Tavares, they're not too bad. If you look at his expected goals and where that ranks amongst forwards on the team, he is third. And in terms of goals per 60 minutes, he's also third. So it's not like it's been horrible for John Tavares. Like, that's via moneypuck.com. Like, there's some underlying things where you're like, if he just figures it out through the course of the season, we're perfectly fine here.
Yeah.
There's our third. We're asking for a third line center next season. Like, this is what he's, if that's the contract he wants to sign, this is what he's going to be. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it's too dire at all.
But
it's something to watch.
Center wing.
I think that he's probably in the state where he wants to make whatever it is at the end of the year. I think he's going to want to make, a lot of money. I think if he, remember what was that purported deal that Tampa offered Stamkos? It was like 8 years, $3 million
times 3 or
something.
Whatever it was.
I wouldn't say go 8, but like, to me, this is a guy who's probably a $4 million player. And
long term, you mean?
Yeah, like if you're going long term, right? If you want that long term security, and I don't blame him. I like John Tavares. I think he's been a great lead.
He's 33, 4.
Yeah, and I feel like, okay, so you got to take into account that the decline is coming. And for some guys, there's a step down, and then they figure out a new way to unlock their game. And we'll see if he does that this year.
Oliver Ekman-Larsson, in a way.
Yeah.
He was elite.
Yeah.
A bum. And now he appears to be back in a big way.
Yeah, very, very good. And I think with John, it's more to me like maybe, he's also, time waits for no man. So maybe he's having a slow start and he'll heat up and this is not an issue. Man, I want a healthy and excited and firing on all cylinders John Tavares, because that would make this team just sing. It would be amazing.
Let me throw a
This
name
is,
out.
though, the biggest test they've had in the early season. And I think that's why there's a particular focus on it is you need to look at these benchmarks, these markers, even though it's 5 games in, and you need to look at the next game versus Boston and the next game versus Florida and go, who are the teams that are going to be real? We're going to play these guys in the playoffs.
Yes.
How do we match up against them? So this is the first benchmark. He didn't pass. Doesn't mean he can't for the rest of them, right?
No, it's the conversation is not get him off the team.
No.
The conversation is we expect more out of this player. And I think that's reasonable, and it's a vote of confidence.
Because we know it's there. Now, I do want to say there are some really good, Jesse was mentioning some positivity. Just as a team, Jonas Siegel had this morning, the Leafs have given up 5 5-on-5 goals total this year.
In 5 games. That'll do.
He said the expected mark is 10.
Great stuff.
That means the goaltending's been pretty good.
Leafs have a 5-on-5 percentage of .951 save percentage.
Man,
That's insane.
Igor was stupid good. Stolarz gave them every
amazing.
chance to win. He was really good.
Here's one that I thought was interesting too that Jonas mentioned. Marner has not registered a shot on the power play to this point. And so here's where I want to go with this.
Okay.
Because I think the instant reaction, and I'm sure the instant reaction from a lot of Leaf fans is go, well, they're going to dump on Marner here. I actually think Savard has got some splaining to do real quick. Because what
I think they're improving.
You think they're... See, I see... I'll say this. I'm so glad they finally took Mo off the power play unit. Not because Mo's a bad guy or because he's a bad player. Different look.
Yes.
But when they put Nyes up there, and I was like, oh my God, the sun is finally shining on them.
Tavares was out of the lineup.
This is the point. I thought the best they looked, and I guess it wasn't against the Rangers, the best they looked was Nyes, OEL, Nylander, Willie. Nylander, Marner, Matthews. That's the best that PP1 has looked.
I haven't seen a ton of people talk about the Tavares angle like that I did in the LFR. We're doing it right now in the pod. They take Tavares off PP1 and put Nyes there, and they have some sort of success. That's going to get real loud real fast.
Well, but that's not a bad thing.
No.
You take Tavares and Riley. Riley, who several years has had more than 60 points, and a lot of them on the power play because he's a great disher. You have him and Tavares as 2 pieces of your second power play unit.
And then it's
That's
like
fantastic.
Riley, Tavares, friggin'
Domi,
Robertson, Domi,
and then whoever else.
Someone.
Whoever
that's
earns
pretty
it,
good.
Probably McMahon.
Oh yeah, there you go. That's a good pick.
You need some shots on there. Is my point, because if you have Domi and Tavares on there, you're gonna need somebody with and Riley. Riley doesn't have much of a shot.
That
you
could
need
be
guys
worse.
with like fucking boomers.
That could
but
be worse.
I'm looking to Mark Savard and going, man, I like what he's doing with the zone entries. And Jesse, you see this up close, so you could. I'm not seeing the drop pass shit at the blue line anymore.
Craig Berube criticized the zone entries at the end.
What was he
power
saying?
plays at the end of the game. He hated the fact that they didn't capitalize on the last power play they had against New York because
Their last one sucked.
it's a
terrible.
tight game and you don't get many opportunities to score. And when you have one, you better take it. And that was his ethos there. And he said the zone entries on that one were really poor. So that's still,
that one though.
Yeah,
The
so
one
I guess the one that's the one he called out.
The thing I hate is the drop pass at the blue line, because how many fucking times did these guys go offside?
See,
I don't,
and I'll tell
it's
you why.
trash. It's trash.
I'll tell you why.
Okay, great, but it's trash.
It looks stupid when it doesn't work. You got to watch more out of market games, man. Everyone's doing it.
It's still trash.
This
team can't do it.
It looks
Can't do it.
really stupid. Okay, a Michigan when it works is on the highlights.
Yeah.
A Michigan when it doesn't
Looks
work
dumb.
looks so
Yeah,
fucking
and what's
stupid.
the percentage of success with the Michigan? That's what I'd like to ask. Listen, I'm happy to be wrong about this, but I have seen the Leafs in the playoffs do that drop pass shit all the time. Offside, offside, offside. Oh, they didn't gain entry. All the other team slapped it the other way. I fucking hate
all it does is like I know
you
it's
have some speed, you have some size. Put it in their zone and crush them. That's what the Bruins do.
I know it's to get the opponent flat-footed and standing still at the blue line.
But you have to set up the play quickly to do that.
All it does is clog up the blue line and make it harder for the entry. And you're not a good enough forechecking team to go and get it.
That's what I'm. Oh, you don't think so? I think they can. I think they can forecheck now.
Well, show me.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
That's fair.
No. The way they're built now, I agree. They should have the horses to go and get
Previously,
it,
they did not.
No. So I understand it looks really fucking stupid when it doesn't work, but then you watch more games and you're like, oh, everyone does it. Well, how come it works for them? And then you start to get like really into the nitty gritty. That being said, I'm glad they don't do it anymore
Listen,
or as much.
If it works for some other team, and I do watch out of market games. If it works for some other team,
I know. I don't mean you.
Oh, the comment section will. If it works for some other team, that's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Doesn't fucking work for these guys. I'm done with it. Try something else. And I need Mark Savard to move off the same 5 guys, and he's moved off one of them. Give me 2 out of 3. Give me 2 out of 5. I'll be happy.
Okay. So here's another problem. And this has to do with fans. We're 5 games in. Season began October 9th. So we're 12 days in or whatever. Oh, shit's about to pick up. The Leafs are about to play, I think it's more games in the next week, I think, than they have all season.
Thank God.
The back half of October is juiced. They have, I think it's, tonight is the beginning of 4 games in 6 days.
Joseph Woll is probably ready for tomorrow night, they're saying. Berube said he might be ready to go this morning.
Oh, interesting.
Tonight's especially troubling because it's back-to-back with travel, isn't it?
Oh, it sucks. At least it's Columbus on the back end. Not that that's great for the Leafs.
Yeah, you say that, and then things are trouble. You know?
Listen, I don't mean to insult Columbus, but look at how many injuries they have, too. Like, it's not even the Columbus team that they started the season with.
No, they were probably going to be a lottery team.
Branson, Voronkov, Jenner, Brindley, Merzlikins, Kent Johnson. I think there might be another one in there, too.
Yeah. This week, like this 3 games in 4 nights is really tricky. It's tonight in Toronto against Tampa. You fly out to Columbus for the game tomorrow. Then you fly back to Toronto on Wednesday, and you play Thursday in Toronto against St. Louis. It's a wonky little bit. And
Craig's going to want to win the shit out of that game.
Oh, yeah.
That's the team that fired him.
That's a game you got to get up for. And then you go Saturday night. Because
against the Bruins.
You can't have a night off.
No.
You got to go play the Bruins.
Good.
So
Good.
This is how the NHL works. It's a hard league to play in. It's a hard schedule. And you have these stretches. And I think we're going to see a lot out of this Leafs team is how often they can get up for these games because they got to be prepared each night here.
I agree. And this will be a test.
So
yeah.
What I mean by what I was saying there is there's all these off days to discuss everything. And this season is about to smack the whole fan base in the face because holy fuck, there's about to be so much hockey.
Yep.
In such a short amount of time. They'll win or they'll lose. You won't even have time to process it. And then it's the next game.
Yep. So that's why, we talk about this right now. And that's why I'm making it about, I wanted to make it about what we've seen through the first 5 games. Because we're going to see most of the next 5 games in the next 7 days.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like, what does next week look like? And that is going to be really fun. I'm excited for that. I just want to do a quick shout out to the Toronto Marlies for a second. First off, if you run the Marlies website, can you please update the stats on it? Thank you. They have not updated their stats from last season.
That's probably not the team.
It is the team's website.
No, I know it's.
Is it the AHL then?
I think the same company runs all of it, but I don't know that.
Please update their stats. So I had to go to Quant Hockey. To find out how well they're doing. But I did want to throw out there, Alexander Nylander, 5 goals in 5 games.
He is unreal. He's
unreal.
a real good story to start. Artur Akhtumov,
And that's the next one.
buddy. I've been talking about him for years.
3-0, a shutout, 1 goal against average, 1 and a .964 save percentage.
Woo!
And listen, not to be lost in this because they don't like playing goalies too early, is Matthew Murray, who has also not lost a game, 2-0, .914 save percentage.
Hey, we take that. We take that.
And then they're going to throw Hildebeest into that if Wool's back and healthy.
We take that. And then where does Akhtimov play? Like, this is a good situation, man. It's a real good situation.
That's exciting.
We like that. We like that a lot.
I just want to throw out there that Nylander, the Nylander highlight reels, if you follow the Marley account, they're not easy goals. These are goal scorer goals.
And he's fired up, too. That pass he got from Logan Shaw.
I just wonder if they need some scoring on that third line one of these days. I wonder if that contract gets upgraded. And I
wouldn't be shocked.
I'm looking at Connor Dewar, whose imminent return is almost imminent, not quite, but we're. And I'm going, if I'm Pontus Holmberg, or if I'm David Kampf, and I am not playing well.
Nick Robertson.
Well, Connor Dewar is not going to be the offense. I'm talking about the defensive guys.
I know what you mean.
And then Calle Yarncroke on top of that. The competition is...
It's a hard team to make.
Oh, it's good. I like this.
Hard team to make. That's why, I think you got to be a little nervous if you're any of the guys who have been a healthy scratch, especially Max Pacioretty, who has bonuses attached to the amount of games that he plays. You got to.
Max is going to come in against Tampa fired up. I'm not.
I know.
Max Pacioretty.
I know, but he missed 2, right?
I know, and I thought it was weird.
So there's 82 games. It's so many games, but now it's down to 76 are left. And you got to hit, okay, I'm going to hit 10.
And 35.
And, don't you dare get hurt.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you get hurt and you miss 10 games on a team this deep, that might be it. You got to do it, man. It's a really, really tough team to make. It's a good thing.
I like it.
Two quickly things before we move on. One, to defend Steve a little, we're talking about the power play. The power play, I think, has improved over the course of the season from Montreal to New York. I think it's better, and especially with OEL there. One thing in particular I was looking at is the heat map from Natural Stat Trick on the power play from Montreal to New York. So on the screen right now for everybody listening, I have the heat map of the Leafs 5-on-4 unblocked shots during Montreal. They had 4 power play opportunities that game. You'll see, if you're watching, that some of the shots come from out on the blue line, from on the right side of the goalie, way deep, right there, the defenseman's taking the shots. And then the majority come on the left side of the goaltender on the face-off dot and just to his left, right along the goal line. If we go to when they played New York on Saturday, you'll see that now the shots are coming right from in the slot.
I like that.
This is a much better, I find, plan for the power play. They've gone away from that weird thing on the left side of the goalie. We're just feeding them there, trying to get all those goals. They're going right to the slot, trying to get their shots there. They had 3 opportunities on Saturday, so it's a pretty comparable game. But over the course of 5 games, they've shifted what they're doing on the power play. So I think it is getting better.
I also want to say
the goals will come.
Watching the Oilers so much in the playoffs last year and watching where Leon Draisaitl scores, specifically on the power play, which is literally beside the net. He's literally on the red line.
Any other player in the league takes that shot, you get screamed at. What are you, stupid?
Yeah. But I feel like the Leafs have the guns to try that sort of stuff where it's the reason that Leon's able to do that is A, otherworldly.
Yes.
B, no one really expects it. And he keeps fucking doing it.
Well,
it's like Ovechkin. It's where's he going to stand? I know where he's going to stand. Where's he going to shoot? I know where he's going to shoot, and I know how hard it's going to be. And yet, here we are in season 20. And by the way, I drafted him in fantasy. Had a bit of a slow week. I'm not going to lie. When he starts to go, you know where it's coming from.
Well, it's a little bit
I feel like the Leafs should try it. Is my point.
The shots, I'll say Steph Curry, but everyone in the NBA can do it now. There was a time where it's yeah, he scored, but you give up that shot because
you can't stop it.
It's a low percentage shot, but then it keeps going in. And you're like, maybe I should adjust the game plan. And I
think there's nobody
team should probably do it with Leon because he keeps scoring.
But nobody does it because it's such a low, in theory, low percentage shot. It's low percentage because I guess Leon wasn't the one taking them. So
I think the Leafs are better off feet in the middle of the net. Getting into that slot area, making things difficult on the goaltender. We've seen them too many times just get goalied.
Well, and
eventually it's not the goalie's problem.
And who's going to be a big part of it when they bust out? Tavares.
Yeah,
that's where he stands.
That middle part. Yeah.
Question for you. I think part of the reason in the past they've kept Matthews and Tavares on the same power play unit together, so Tavares can win the face-off, and he did in the dying seconds of the game.
Yeah, he's good.
Great face-off win. Just a shitty pass from Willie, and that was why it just happens. Yeah. But he won that face-off. My thing is, when you've got, I get doing that when there's 5 seconds left and you need a quick shot. if you're just doing that so someone can win the faceoffs, what's the issue with Matthews winning the faceoff, getting it to somebody on the team, and then people getting set up and going? And then, like, I don't know. They don't seem to need that quick instant shot. I think what they need on the power play, and I know I'm bringing it back to what we were talking about, is they need a guy who can bowl people over in the way that Matthew Nyes does. And Austin will get shots on the power play. I just don't understand why it's got to be, he can't take the face-off. It's got to be Tavares.
On the surface, Austin just isn't as good as faceoffs. Like, I think he was 47% on Saturday, and JT in obviously less faceoffs he took overall, but he was I think in the 60s.
And he's a monster.
Like, it's just
he's a monster.
Let's get him up to the standard that the elite faceoff guys are at.
To give you an idea of how insane that is, I think the Leafs entering Saturday were like 53%, 54%. It was fourth in the league. So for Tavares to be hovering around 60 is nuts. And also you just want Matthew's shot available as often and as soon as possible.
So to answer the question, or just to confirm it, Saturday JT had 67% faceoffs.
Wow.
Good.
It was there, 67% faceoff
So did Willie.
percentage. And Austin was 42%.
Oh, man.
There you go.
You know what, Austin? Stop working on your shot. Start working on your faceoffs. Okay? That's what we need. We need Dave Steckel, Yannick Perreault level faceoff wins. Okay?
When I think of stars, Dave Steckel.
Dave Steckel. Absolutely. What if it were easy to take your business and sell your products e-commerce wise online?
Well, that's impossible.
It's always so difficult.
What if there was a platform that kind of had it all in one?
Oh.
And, was really easy, and big brands like SDPN and also Kim Kardashian's brand Skims. And you guys laugh at Kim Kardashian. She sells.
And we're the same.
We're the same. We're the exact same. We do the same numbers. Listen.
We've also dated Pete Davidson.
We sell the same things too, underwear.
Yeah, and we do. Yeah, we do sell it. We sell underwear.
So SDPNshop.ca is built on Shopify, and on it you can find boxers that have Adam's face on it, and they say balls. So yeah.
So listen.
So we're just like Skims.
Upgrade your business and get the same checkout as us at SDPN or Kim Kardashian's company. Damn it, if it's good enough for $1 billion company, maybe it's good enough for you.
Yeah.
Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/SDP. All lowercase. Shopify.com/SDP to upgrade your selling today. It's shopify.com/SDP.
You say that URL a lot, but just like click it in the description.
Oh, there's that too.
Yeah.
I want to move on to a couple of things that happen around the league. And the first thing is I want to follow up what happened in Pittsburgh. And I want to be clear, this is not to dunk on the Penguins.
Yeah.
We talked about Tristan Jarry and his struggles, and basically, the Athletic Pittsburgh saying he shouldn't be he shouldn't be playing, and he wasn't. So Bloomquist and Nedeljkovic dressed for the Penguins this weekend. Not Tristan Jarry was not in uniform. And you know who else was a notable scratch? Michael Bunting.
Oh, boy. Did he miss a practice, or was he late for something?
No idea.
Dude, he was so unreal for them down the stretch. There's no way him having a tough start to the season was...
And there's no way that
it.
Anthony Beauvillier is the answer.
Man.
You're playing... I'm sorry, no disrespect to him and his family, but that to me is cardio merchant guy. And
I mean,
I just never have understood that player, why people valued what he brought so much. And it's interesting, and we'll get to Jarry in a second since we're talking about former Leaf Michael Bunting, is the Pittsburgh fan reaction to this, which is the exact reaction we're having.
What?
Which is, I can't believe, why are you scratching Bunting? Because he was unreal for us.
what happened? Just to make sure I'm not losing my mind, in 21 games with the Penguins after his trade from the Hurricanes, he had 6 goals, 13 assists, and 19 points. He was just shy of a point-a-game player for the Penguins.
Yep.
And he's got 1 assist in 6 games. He has not been good. Guys, what are we doing? Really? And he's only got 2 penalties. That sounds like a lot, but it's really good for him. What are we doing?
The game before Saturday's game, it was kind of tailor-made that Mike Sullivan was going to do this, because in the middle of the game, Bunting got demoted from the second line, Malkin's line, to the third line. And then by the end of the game, he was playing on the fourth line. So Mike Sullivan, by the end of that game, already found Bunting useless. Like, he wasn't useful enough to be on the second line when he started him.
He's wrong.
So his next solution was to scratch him to see if he can get his head in this. It's obviously been a very slow start to the season, and coaches have their ways of motivating guys. And if his game plan right now is, I don't have use for Michael Bunting on the second line where he's supposed to be playing, and I'd rather have somebody else in that position, then it makes sense on the surface. But I think there should be a little bit of a longer rope for Michael Bunting, considering what the spectacular run he had at the end of last year.
Every coach and every team he's had in the NHL has found a use for him. When he was with the Coyotes, 13 points in 21 games. Useful, 63 points in 79 games with the Leafs. Useful, 49 points in 82 games with the Leafs. Useful, 23 goals in both of those seasons, by the way. 13 goals and 36 points in 60 games with the Hurricanes. Useful, nearly a point a game with the Penguins last year under Mike Sullivan. Useful. So hopefully it's what you said it is. Grab him by the collar and wake him up.
I think it's more of that, especially like the quotes coming out from him being like, yeah, I'm disappointed, but obviously I need to be playing better and that sort of stuff. It feels like a wake up, kid. Kind of thing.
Not stupid.
It's not a Michael Bunting sucks forever. It's I demoted you 2 times. You dropped down the line from line 2 to 3 and then 3 to 4. Now we got to do the actual wake up. You're out of the lineup. I'll put you back in because we're in dire straits here. Like, we need to start winning and everybody needs to be playing well.
And the Penguins have succeeded over the years with players where you need to do that. Where you got to go, Mike, and you wake him up. Gino, I mean, Gino it's more like, hey, can you let go of that guy's throat? It's more like that, but like, Phil, there have been players to go through that team where you got to wake them up a little.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, there's no reason to not have faith in this player.
And honestly, though, like, it's what's fascinating about the Penguins right now. Like, first off, they're living off of Gino.
Dude, he's so fucking good.
You know what's nuts, though? He's got 11 points in 7 games, still somehow a -5.
Oh, yeah. Dude,
they're not good.
They're not. No, they're bad team. Dude, they can't keep the puck out of their net. It's kind of a struggle.
Hard to do. But Bloomquist has looked good. I'm excited to see what Ned does because he's one of those guys that's like,
well, how dire is that?
Oh,
how dire is that?
It's dire.
Goalie looks good. Can't keep the puck out of your net. That's a team that's dead. Like, I'm not saying the Penguins specifically. I'm just saying what I'm describing is a screwed team.
I didn't see all the goals that he let in on Friday, but I know they lost 4-1 when Bloomquist was in net, and so I don't know if he
might not be the answer.
If he's the long term, but it's one game. Obviously, he looked good before that.
I'm excited to see what Ned does, just because he had flashes of it in Carolina, and I wonder if that's just because that was a good defensive system. Or if he actually is good, because Detroit really took a chance on him. But which goalie in the league hasn't Detroit taken a chance on? They've had like 14 goalies in the last 2 years. I'm not even kidding. Like, it's crazy the amount of goaltending talent.
Alex Lyon beat up on the Preds last night.
Yeah, he did. Maybe they found, but Ned was.
That's only because they tried to start Saros and realized they didn't have him under contract. I thought it was a good joke. I'm trying to say they tried to start a goalie who wasn't theirs. That's not a good joke.
Wait, what?
I said the Red Wings tried to start Saros.
I see. Okay, yeah. No, okay.
Fuck, that's bad.
I just didn't get it, man. It's not because I don't love you and not Jesse. Thoughts deserve to interesting.
We can go forward so Steve doesn't have to sit in this.
No.
always good to have supportive teammates.
I think we've been I don't think we were mean about it. No. Tristan Jarry, though, I'm wondering again, is there a trade? Now, the other thing that happened in the Jets Penguins game is the where is Rutger chance and Jaeger's better chance.
They're feeling themselves, right? They haven't friggin' lost, and Rutger McGroarty's in the minors. How do you? I mean, we're only a few games in, but how do you early win better than that?
And it was the exact reason that the Jets were like, "No, you need another year." It was the skating. That was the big thing with Pittsburgh. It was a bunch of things, but the skating was an issue. And the Jets were like, hey.
But it's not like he had like a really public and viral incident in Toronto with his skating, right?
Stop.
What?
are you
He
talking
did.
about?
When Domi
Jesus Christ.
deked his pants off. No,
talking
I know.
about-
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Do you think that's what it was? Do you
That's
think that
like-
the Domi?
No, I'm just saying that probably added to it.
Yeah, it probably did.
I don't know if I'm going to say anything else. Fuck.
I'm sorry. I was right on board with you with that one. I don't understand.
What about this one?
I think we're a little reactive at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah, I think,
What I would say is
chill, daddy.
what I would say is sometimes you feel like, and this happened with Askarov too. Oh, I deserve a shot. And
No, you don't.
and they're saying no, you don't right now. Now Askarov's been really good. So maybe he gets a shot next, but I don't know about McGroarty. And Brandon Yeager seems like he's a really good prospect, so I think Winnipeg's thrilled.
I mean, how do you not feel good if you're a Jets fan right now?
I want to blow your mind with a stat that has nothing to do with either of those teams. Tyler Myers played his 1,000th game for the Vancouver Canucks this weekend. He is the only active player from the Sabres that made the playoffs. So he's the last remaining Buffalo Sabre to have played in the playoffs that's active in the NHL.
For the Sabres.
For the Sabres.
The last time they made the
Yeah.
playoffs. Okay.
There was probably a better way for me to say
yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, I was
You
like,
need to
wait,
add
only
those
active
lines.
player from the
Pozo,
Sabres' last playoff team.
There you go. Oh, there it is.
Isn't that nuts?
Yeah.
2011 was the last time the Sabres.
All right, let's pull up the roster.
Oh my.
How many? So this is the game I want to play. So Jesse, pull it up from 2011. I want to go. How many players?
The 11-12.
11-12.
Sabres, right?
I believe it was 11-12. It might be 10-11.
Oh man.
How many players from that roster can Steve name? Is the game I want to play.
Oh, let's try it. And those jerseys. I think it was the Navy ones. I never liked the Navy ones.
It has been 4,000. It has been 4,927 days since the Sabres last skated in a playoff game back on April 26, 2011. So it's the 10-11 Sabres. I have the roster in front of me. They lost in the quarterfinals that season to the Philadelphia Flyers in 7 games. Hold on, Matty. Hold on.
bring it up.
We can't bring it up because he has to guess.
Now that you all know.
No, I didn't.
No, it was the roster part wasn't on the screen. Thank you.
Okay, good.
All right, so
Oh man.
Steven, there's a giant roster
Holy shit.
from the Buffalo Sabres' last playoff run. Give me the guys on this team.
Okay, Tyler Myers.
Well done.
Man,
Nailed it.
wow.
Yeah.
And now it gets tricky. Brian Giunta.
Brian Giunta. I don't see Brian Giunta.
Brian Giunta was not on this team.
No,
Damn.
Brian Giunta's not there.
Oh shit.
No.
Who was on this team? Patrick Coletta?
Patrick Coletta is on the team.
Let's
Well
go.
done.
Okay.
30. I found out how to sort it by alphabetical, so now I can find the names easier. Let's go.
Okay.
Okay.
So I got like a pest and a defenseman.
You got 2 guys.
Christian Ehrhoff.
Christian Ehrhoff, not on the team.
Damn. Oh my God.
These are good names you're pulling though.
I thought
I
so.
respect it.
Man, I'm having to go back far too.
You got 2.
Drew Stafford?
Drew Stafford, well done.
Yes.
That's a name.
That's a name.
That's a guy who played.
That is certainly a guy who played.
He's a coach now in the NHL. For a Western Conference
Andrew
team.
Burnett?
No. For a Western Conference team that sucks.
For a Western Conference team that sucks. Damn, that really should help. And it's not. Like currently sucks, or we expect them to suck?
Both. Oh, no. What did I said coach, general manager.
General manager.
General manager.
Oh, well,
sorry.
that's totally different.
GM for a Western Conference team that sucks and will suck.
Got it.
Most likely.
Okay, I'm gonna
There's like 2 of them.
pocket that one.
There's like 2 of them. Like 2 teams that really suck in the West.
What's that guy's name?
You're a truther.
One sec. Oh, Mike Greer?
Mike Greer. Mike Greer
Oh.
was on this team.
He was a staple
was-
of the navy blue Buffalo Sabres.
He was.
Mike Greer was on the last team in Buffalo that made the playoffs.
That's insane.
Now there were 2.
Paul Gostad?
No.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Sorry. Yes.
Let's go.
Now
Who's in net? Was it Ryan Miller?
No. Ryan Miller.
Oh,
yes. Ryan Miller's on this team. Yeah.
But there are two
Sorry,
other
I'm saying
goalies, and
no.
one of them's going to blow your effing mind. One of them's a former Leaf.
Marty Biron?
No.
No. A former Leaf.
Former Leaf for about 3 seconds.
You're missing like the big name guy.
Martin Gerber?
Nope.
Thomas Vanek?
Yes, Thomas Vanek.
Okay.
You got
You remember the captain?
Apparently not. Was it still?
It's not a river, but it's a little more silent.
Valley?
It's a river.
Oh, you're terrible. You're a piece of garbage.
Greg
Gregory
Rivet.
Hay. This team made the playoffs, huh?
Yeah. I don't know how, to be honest.
Former
Shows you how
Leafs
bad the
goalie.
Leafs were. Former Leafs goalie for about 3 seconds under Mike Babcock. 3 seconds.
Oh, starts with an E.
Yes.
Enroth. Jonas Enroth.
Jonas
And
Enroth.
I got one more for you who played 7 games.
With the Leafs.
Nope.
Oh, with the Sabres.
He's Senators legend, and he was 36 at this point. Known best for his 5-hole.
Was Patrick Lalime a Sabre?
Yes.
Ugh.
Patrick Lalane.
Not good one.
No.
No.
Other names you missed, Rob Niedermeyer.
Oh, okay. Okay. I had no idea.
Derek
he played
Roy.
there. Derek Roy.
Tyler Ennis.
Oh, I should have got Tyler.
Finished 11th in
21-year-old.
Calder voting that year.
He was good. He was a very good player.
Tim Connolly.
Tim Connolly.
Brad Boyce.
Brad Boyce.
Other good
Tim
names.
Connolly was such
Nathan
a favorite.
Gerbe.
Oh, Nathan Gerby.
Or Gerby, excuse me.
Jordan Leopold. Steve Montador.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the name. Mark Parrish.
Brad
Jason
Boyce.
Pominville.
Oh, the
Brad Boyce.
population of Poppinville.
Drew Stafford, you said. Colin Stewart. That's the team. Mike Weber.
Not great.
Not great. Yeah, I don't know how they got to the fucking finals. the conference quarterfinals. My bad. I thought it was the Eastern Conference Finals. The quarterfinals.
Conference quarterfinals
against,
sounds so much better than they lost in the first round.
Yeah. No, they lost in the first round.
In 7.
Still, they took Philly to 7 games.
Yeah, baby. And
I
then
bet that
Philly,
Flyers roster was good. I bet it had like Primo and like
Philly got stomped into a pulp by the Bruins in 4 the next round.
Lindy Ruff,
damn.
the coach of both teams.
Yep.
Damn.
Yep.
Damn.
Damn. Isn't that
not
crazy?
great.
That is
Cool
crazy.
stuff. So a couple of things that also I think are notable. It's looking like, and Ryan Kennedy from the Hockey News is reporting this morning, and we've heard similar things like this, whispers about this, but nothing verifiable. So I guess Ryan has it verifiable. The CBA that they have already started working on. No matter what Gary Bettman tells you, they have already talked about several things. And one of the things that's an issue is that guys like Fraser Minton, for instance, in the Leafs case, not quite good enough to make the team, but we're going to put him in the CHL?
Last year.
Last
year. Yeah, last year. Right.
This year
Sorry.
he's eligible for the
No, it's never really made sense that North Americans and not Europeans, if they're 19 years old, they can either play major junior hockey or in the National Hockey League. But no, not the American Hockey League. That's absurd.
The example you want to go with is Shane Wright, who had the weirdest
yes.
rookie season where he's not quite ready for the NHL. They tried him out so many times, and the only option after the World Juniors they had was to send him back to the CHL, unless they find some way to get the exception, which they did, and he got to play in the AHL, because that's where he should have been the whole time, because he's too good for where he was playing, and he should be eligible for the AHL.
Also, the COVID bubble, they did let junior players play in the AHL, and they were fine.
Yeah.
They were A-okay.
But it's not because of whether they're going to be fine or not. It's because these CHL teams want those names so
Yes.
they can sell tickets and have them on the roster.
Yeah.
But it sounds like they're doing the right thing and fixing it.
So he said, heard from a source that the next CBA could feature AHL eligibility for 19-year-olds. So not 18, but 19. Lots of changes swirling around prospect world, but this would be great for like a Matt Savoy type of player. And to be honest, I mean, this seems like just the obvious thing to do, and I'm not really sure why they didn't do it, but I think that rule was made. in an NHL that looks a lot different than it does today, because there were many years in the NHL where even first overall picks didn't play very much because it was a really veteran-leaning league. And a lot of older guys, and it took a while to get bigger and stronger. That's the clutch and grab era. And so, that used to be a thing. It's like, oh yeah, they drafted this guy, but I'm not going to see him for like 3 years.
So I'm at the end of Sundin's book, because I have to talk to him tonight. And he gets drafted first overall. Whoa! And then he went back to Sweden and became a certified electrician.
There you go.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
Weird.
Yeah, I knew he went back and played, but like, not only did he go back and play, he had to like get a backup career.
19-year-olds makes a lot of sense, because even like the 19-year-olds that are in the CHL now, you see them, they're like, oh, that's a different person than like the 17 or 16-year-olds they could be playing against. And you're like, yeah, they could easily play in the AHL right now.
And I think this is going to affect fewer players than you think.
100%.
Like, it's going to be this huge drain on junior hockey.
5 guys a year.
Dude, it's like,
if that.
Easton Cowan probably this year. Like, it's not a big list.
I'd also say that the CHO would have probably argued, well, hey, those are the best players we have. But and then you also have, while this is going on, the NCAA rules are coming to an end here, where players who played in the the CHL generally will be able to play in the NCAA, and they might start at 18, they might start at 19, they might start at 20. But I would look at that and go, okay, so this basically frees the CHL to bring more new talent quickly. Yeah. And that is the point of the CHL is develop these young guys quicker, faster, and they are essentially the high school of hockey. And so that, in sports in the States, they pay attention to the local high school team and how that football team's doing, how their baseball team's doing. That's what the CHL is for us. And I think this is actually probably a positive thing, because if you have, like, I love Easton Cowan, and I'm so excited to watch him play more and more and whatever. I think everybody would agree that it's probably better if he's in the AHL this year. And it's not going to kill him, but, be better if he was in the AHL.
Sure.
Doesn't it make sense that Easton Cowan's not holding a roster spot for some 15 or 16-year-old who could come in and develop quicker?
He was like already, like, what do you have, 96 points and like 50-something?
Won the Memorial Cup. Like, what's there to do?
Yeah. Now, the grass isn't always greener, because players like him are going to fight to graduate, and they're going to go to the AHL, and it's not going to be better for them, right? So you might be better off playing first-line minutes. Even if you killed it in the CHL last year, you might be better first-line power play, first-line minutes, first everything, go to the World Juniors, versus you go and play hockey with grown men. You're playing third line at most. You're going to be scratched a bunch of nights. Are you getting scratched on the London Knights, Easton?
No, but you could always send him back. If he's going to be playing, he's not good enough to be here, then send him back.
So, yeah, but you're sending him back. There's not going to be this, like...
No, it's not going to be used as a minor league. You send him back permanently, like for the year. But you have to give them a shot.
If the junior team takes him back, which I assume they would.
I think so.
I assume they would, but... I'm just saying this won't be better for everyone, right? So it's not like every player is going to clamor for this opportunity. Like, yeah, you get to make pro money. That is the draw. But like I think of a player like Emily Rassinen, and some of you right now are like, Steve, who the hell is that? He was a second-round pick of the Leafs. Like, I want to say 2017. Pretty recently. 6'7". Like 230 pounds,
every time.
Right shot defense.
Every time?
Every time.
Wow.
Every time. He had a good draft year. He had a good draft plus 1 year. And I don't remember if he was still junior eligible or not, but he played a little bit with the Marlies.
5 games in 18-19.
There you go. And instead of going back to junior, I think, if I have the story correct, he's like, I'm going to go play for, was it Jokerit?
No.
Team in Finland. Karpat?
Kiko Vanta?
Kiko Vanta.
Is that something?
I don't know.
But that's how you say it.
But he goes there, and I'm going to play professionally, my home country. They didn't play him.
He also did play in Jokerit. He played in the KHL.
Oh, you son of a gun.
He played for 12 games, Jokerit, that same season.
That's why he went to Venta, because he was playing with Jokerit. Well, sorry, he was on Jokerit's roster.
But then he also only played 5 games for Venta. I don't know what happened.
It ruined his career.
This 18-19 season, 12 games. I'll bring it up here.
It sounds like he took bad advice.
12 games in the KHL, 5 games in Mesti. I don't know how to say this name. And then 5 games in the AHL.
It's like Mestis, I think.
Mestis.
I want to say it's the second league of Finland.
But yeah, he barely played hockey in 18-19.
And this is the thing, right?
Look at his last year in junior. That's a solid player. 33 points in 61 games. He got to play deep into the playoffs.
With our Kingston Frontenacs.
Right. And then he friggin' did
But this,
dick.
Guys, that's the point, though. I think he made a bad decision. He should have known that going over to the KHL, they're not going to play. They're not going to play young players. They never
Right.
do.
And I know that's the KHL and not the AHL. Like I know it's different, but there's a player who's like, well, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna play pro, and it's Finland. It should be easier to make a team in Finland than the AHL. And that's no disrespect to the teams in Finland. Those are pros. Those are really good players. AHL is probably a better league. And he went over there and it didn't work.
Well,
so these players are going to have a harder time. Like you might look at that and go, well, I'm friggin' huge. I feel like I'm a pretty good junior player. And you know what? I'd like to make a professional salary. And you're going to go over there and it's going to screw up your long-term
Well, that's
blessings.
why the AHL thing's a good idea.
Yes.
And I would also say that, let's say Easton Cowan goes to Marley's camp. Like we're just using this, and he struggles.
Yeah. Sorry,
And
I'm not using this to say this is a bad thing.
No, I know.
I'm using it to say this isn't going to be for everybody.
Here's the thing, though.
Yeah, sorry.
Here's the thing. Okay, so I'm Brad, even though you're wearing the Brad shirt.
Brad!
And you are Brandon Pridham.
I'm both of them?
No, I'm Brad.
You're Brad.
Yeah.
I'm Brandon Pridham.
Brandon Pridham is the AHL GM, is he not?
I don't know who it is. Ryan Hardy?
Oh, is it Ryan Hardy?
I don't know.
Whatever it is. I'm Brad. You're
it.
my AGM.
Got it.
And you're the GM of the Marlies.
Got it.
And Easton Cowan is a priority for this organization. How do you think the conversation goes when the coach says, oh, yeah, we'll play him on the third line? I think Brad says, no, I think you'll play him on the first line.
Cool. How about I kicked you directly in the pants?
This is the thing, right? So like, oh, well, he'd only be on the third. Yeah, well, it's a developmental league too. So you're going to develop him.
This was an argument years ago. The Marlies were in the playoffs, and Justin Pogge was still a big prospect for them at the time. And the playoffs come, and they're playing Scott Clementine.
Clemenson.
It's Clemenson.
Yes.
Clementine.
And they went to the finals.
I'm remembering the fan behind the glass who used to yell Clementine. Sorry, it was Scott Clementine.
Ryan Hardy is GM of
Ryan
the
Hardy.
Marlies,
There it
by the
is.
way. Yeah.
One of the
And
Hardy boys.
The argument was, well, Clemenson is the better goalie right now. And the counter argument was, have you considered who gives a fuck? Who cares? It's a journeyman third stringer versus the potential future starter of your franchise. What the fuck are you doing? And they went with Clemenson and they lost.
Didn't Clemenson, didn't he keep the Leafs out of the playoffs one year? Like he won a game?
Yes, but he won a game for the Devils. I know.
Stupid.
I know.
Yeah, so I wanted to throw that out there. Also,
Before people get mad at you, Adam, the Easton Cowan has never won the Memorial Cup. Saginaw. Saginaw Spirit beat the London Knights in the Memorial Cup.
well, I guess he's got something to do down there.
Did they win the OHL championship?
London, yes.
One of the things that's such a pain in the butt about traveling is the fees for roaming. What a pain. Now,
Don't like those.
I would like to rewind the clock a little bit to when Jesse Blake went to Greece.
I did. I was in Mykonos, and I was in Santorini, and I was having fun in Greece.
Now, if Jesse had Saley, he might have been able to purchase some items for the luggage that the airline lost.
Yeah, they lost my girlfriend's luggage. It was awful. She did not have a fun time with the millions of outfits she planned on bringing, and they weren't there.
Oh, no.
Yeah, she got it by like the end of it, but it was awful. Yeah.
And this is the thing, right? You can significantly reduce or eliminate roaming fees. You have to make some calls. I don't know if you know this. The airlines don't love it when you call them.
No.
But you know who does is probably your provider when you're out of the country. But with Saley, if you have to make those calls, you get an eSIM plan, and they have eSIMs in over 160 countries. And I'll guarantee you that they're the 160 countries that you'd want to go to.
Wait, how many
There's
countries?
probably some other countries on that list that Saley doesn't cover, but let's be honest, you probably don't want to go.
Adam, how many countries?
160.
That's so many countries.
It is. Global and regional plans. Save on eSIMs. It's so easy, and it's brought to you by NordVPN. So you know the security that you're after, too, because that's always an issue. It's going to be there. So listen, here's what we need you to do, okay? I want you to buy a plan. Check it out. 160 countries, 8 regions. Check out the Saley app. With Saley, you'll always have a connection where needed. And get an exclusive 15% discount on Saley data plans. Use the code DANGLE. What's that code?
Dangle.
How do you spell it?
Dangle. Next.
Download the Saley app or go to Saley, SAILY.com/dangle. That's SAILY.com/dangle. Saley.com/dangle. Check it out. I'm just picking and choosing things here because we're at the beginning of the week. But Philip Broberg would lead the Oilers in points.
Oh, shit. What?
6 points.
Okay, well, wouldn't have called that.
Now, that is not going to last, obviously. However, I just thought that would be interesting to bring up.
And Holloway's doing okay, isn't he?
I believe he is as well.
I know he had at least the one good
And,
game.
you know, and Warren Fogle, I didn't think that this was going to matter that much. But yeah, Connor McDavid has the same amount of points and the exact same amount of goals and assists too as Philip Broberg.
That's probably going to last forever.
Probably. Probably. Man, the Blues did really get a steal. They should be paying at least 3 times.
It was always the right choice. It was always the right choice to get these guys. We just didn't know how right.
Yeah. Yeah. Thought you'd find that fascinating. The again, early season doesn't matter that much. Vitek Vanecek had his jersey misspelled
I saw that.
on the weekend.
That's bad.
That is bad,
At
right?
home.
At home.
Not
It's not the easy. It's the way I remember it is it's like vein, and then check. That's how you spell it. Vein, CEK.
How about just stitch what's written on the paper, man?
Yeah, no, this is like this is like almost fireable.
You think
you got
so?
like you got one
It's
job.
happened.
No, but like your job is to fucking look at the paper and put the numbers. Like if that's the beginning and end of your job.
I hope that's how the interview went. You
Like,
look at
what?
the paper and put the numbers.
Like that's it, is it not?
Maybe the guy on the paper wrote it wrong.
Maybe. There you go.
Possible.
That's also there we go. We're getting some excuses.
Hey,
but
there we go.
if you're sitting there and you're like, hey, I got the paper with the name on it, I just got to put it on the back of the jersey, and you can't do that. What are you working there for?
Didn't Scheifele
I'm upset
have
on
his name
his behalf.
I feel like Scheifele had his name misspelled
I don't know.
once upon a time. This hasn't happened to a ton of guys, but it has
because
happened.
It's a pretty straightforward gig, as Jesse pointed out.
Well, people have had their name misspelled on the cup.
yes.
Adam
they have.
Deadmarsh is the most famous
Dead
one. I
Mash,
know there's
or what do
others.
they call him?
It was see now I think it's Dead Marsh,
Oh,
and it was spelled Dead March
right.
with a C instead of an S.
Right.
I'm not totally sure.
Also this weekend, moving on from poor VTech, I'm sure they'll figure it out. By the way,
And at no point in the process did anybody say, you know what, that's not right. Put a new one on the back.
What I was wondering was how long does it take to put that on the jersey? It can't be long.
No,
Like,
you got on the Real Sports, you drop your jersey, it takes like 20 minutes.
Is this kind of on VTech as well? Like, hey, look at
No. You're Adam. You're
Guys.
going down the wrong.
Oh, yo, he went on the ice. He went on the ice for warm up.
Adam.
45 minutes before the game
Adam.
started. 45 minutes and nobody said anything.
Adam,
maybe
like-
it's not on V. He put the jersey on. All of his teammates saw it. All of the coaching staff saw it. And nobody went, that's not how you spell that.
Yeah, but no one
They
who
could have
looks at their
Jesse
jersey and
said
goes,
they do it in an hour.
who
No,
looks at their
that's
jersey and goes,
bad.
"Oh, I wonder if my name's misspelled."
That's bad.
So you never looked at the back of his jersey ever in his life?
Adam,
And none of his other teammates did too. Guys,
this is victim blaming. This isn't good.
Damn!
That's not good.
can't hit me with that, Jesse. That's not fair.
Yeah.
Where are his
Why
teammates
are
on this?
Why are you blaming
Man, I question the cohesiveness of the San Jose Sharks that they don't know.
That's bad.
Is there a bad team culture in San Jose? That's next on the SDP. I'm kidding.
That was really good.
NHL, no NHL awards this year in the traditional sense. Elliot Friedman talked about this, and you wouldn't have caught it because it was during streaming. But they get the sense that nobody likes the awards the way they're done because also, now, the way that Hockey Night in Canada framed it was it's just too much all at once. You got you got the finals, and then you got the awards, you got the draft, you got the free agency, and the awards kind of get lost.
It is a lot.
Let's be honest. The awards suck, and they've always sucked. They're not well done. And
why do you want to get rid of them?
Well,
where are the Arkells going to play in June?
Where exactly?
Did I get one?
Yeah.
Did I get one?
That was good.
Yeah.
I don't know how they could do it, but there are a lot of different ways that they could do this. And I get the sense that if you're at the NHL Awards, other than the presentation ceremonies, it's pretty fun. Like the actual show itself sucks, but you get to hang out with all your friends and you get to meet people's families and it's a good industry event, whatever. I don't know what they do here, but they're going to have to do something. You can't, I feel like you need a little bit of a party for this. You don't want to decentralize the NHL Awards, do you? Like, there are plenty of award shows that do a good job.
Does the NBA have an award show at all? I don't think they do.
Jesse, do they?
The NBA gives out their awards to the guys like during the first round of the playoffs. So like the MVP trophy, he'll like be like, "Hey, I'm talking to Barkley. Can you do a Barkley impression?"
That's terrible.
That's not bad. And then Jokic will go sit on the set, and then he's got like game 2 to play of the first round.
Jokic won MVP.
So
Come on, man.
Or when Scotty won Rookie of the Year, they were at like Raptors practice, and they all came out. And I remember like they came out and they gave him the trophy at practice, and then they got to go lose to the Sixers or whatever, So right. Yeah, they don't do award shows like that, and I think it's good.
I was gonna say like you gotta pump it up. You gotta no, they don't.
Nah.
They don't. And like that's the league I take my like showmanship cues from. Like, okay, what are they doing? Because it's usually the right thing, and they're surprisingly just not doing it.
Yeah.
And I think the NHL is like, okay, wait. So our event staff is breaking their neck at the Stanley Cup final. Then they have about 45 minutes to go and collect their things and go and do the NHL Awards, and then they got to do the draft. I think we should just not do this.
Right.
And it's not like the NHL is like, okay, we have these people work in the final, and then these people work in the award, and then these people work at that. No, it's the same staff for all 3 events, and they're dying.
I wonder, like, I don't know if the NHL could do what the NBA does in the sense that, like, the NBA guys seem to be pretty pumped. NHL guys be like, yeah, I don't care. Focus on the playoffs. It'd be so boring. But I guess that's what
they give a shit either. Like when Scotty Barnes, I think he got Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
It was like, hooray. Oh, that's what you just said, right? Yeah. Hooray.
Yeah.
He hoists it above his head and then he puts it down. He doesn't give a shit.
There's a whole conspiracy theory about the 1980 finals with the Magic the Lakers and whatever Magic Johnson was involved, because it was like his first year and they were going to win, and it was supposed to go to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, but Kareem was out and Magic played, and then they gave him like the regular season MVP once they won the championship. I feel like I thought that was interesting because I'm like, okay, because like if you did that with the NHL, you'd have the Stanley Cup, you'd have the Conn Smythe, and if you waited, you might have the regular season MVP on the same night.
Who gives a
Nah.
shit? McDavid won playoff MVP. He didn't give a shit. Like none of these guys give a shit about any trophy if they're not winning the cup.
Right.
I don't mind the NHL awards. Like, I don't know.
And now aren't there
You watch
not
them?
even performance bonuses anymore? Like for
Winning an awards?
yeah.
There's not, no?
I don't think so.
Have to ask
like
Alan
because
on
of
that.
the salary cap and everything and overage and
I don't know. I have no idea.
like I don't think McDavid gets extra money if he wins the Hart or
The
scoring.
NHL should pay you extra money for getting that. They should be paying the stars.
Yeah, I would think there
There
is.
should just be a cash prize.
A cash prize. Escrow free, baby.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because it's like, hey, you're the reason that we even have a game.
You get a prize for winning the stupid shitty All-Star game.
You get a prize for winning a round in the.
That's true.
You know, because they stop getting paid once Game 82's done.
That's
So
right.
the NHL pays them to do the anyway.
Yeah, it seems there are bonuses.
Aha.
Oh,
That's stupid. Kidding.
I'm having a banger show.
No,
From
you're
Reddit,
Good.
Exhibit 5 of the CBI. These are classified as individual B bonuses. These are awarded automatically only for players on entry-level contracts, but players can also negotiate additional bonuses from the club for certain awards, listed below to a maximum of $2 million. Hart, Norris, Vezina, Selke, Richard, $250K. That's a first place vote If you want it, you can negotiate that in your contract. Lady Byng, 150, Jennings, 50, Calder, 212K, All-Star Team, 100, Conn Smythe, 250. So, and then there's additional bonuses. There is stuff. There's stuff.
All right, and I'm going to take my bonus money for winning that, and I'm going to buy a suit. And I'm going to buy my dad a suit. And I'm going to fly my dad out and my mom out. No, shit, I got 3 siblings, and I'm going to fly them out too.
Oh, no. How dare your family have a fun time?
Yeah, and they're going to stay in a tent outside. No, I got to put them up in a hotel.
Are you upset Are you upset that these millionaires get to have a fun time with their family?
No, I'm just saying they are.
No, I don't think they're upset.
I don't think so.
I would not be upset.
Oh, no. Austin hated that his mom and dad came to see him get an award.
He did. You didn't see that?
No, yeah, he said, fuck this.
He said, what the hell are these people doing?
My only wish is that my parents left me alone.
My whole life, I worked to this moment, and they raised me and made me play hockey, and now we're here, and I hate this moment because it cost me a little bit of money that I will make back.
That's what he said verbatim.
That's what you think is happening?
That's what he was quoted as saying at Leafs practice, and credentialed Leaf reporter Jesse Blake caught that on microphone. Go ahead, play it.
Oh, gosh. What's next?
Oh, Jesse won't play it. He's trying to protect his credentials. Typical Toronto media. Typical.
I love that. Last thing is, and I have been batting around whether to bring this up or not, because sometimes you see a story and you're like, that's interesting, but do people care?
Is it the amulet?
No, it is not the amulet.
I thought for sure you were going amulet.
No, we made an amulet joke in the last podcast. I more want to talk about the Blackhawks, White Sox, and Bulls, and the lack of being able to watch them on one of the biggest cable channels out there. So there is a Chicago Sports Network app, which I think you're going to love the idea of, because what they do is they go, you pay us and you can watch the game.
Damn, sounds crazy.
Isn't that nuts? That's a crazy idea.
Sounds good. I bet it's working excellently.
Well, here's why it's not.
Oh.
Because the Chicago Blackhawks, Bulls, and White Sox fans want to access the Chicago Sports Network. It's Chicago Sports Network. So they're for some reason, instead of calling it CSN, they call it CHSN because they're difficult.
Oh.
Isn't
there already a CSN as well?
Yeah, who cares? Doesn't matter. There's so many regional networks, it's impossible in the States. CHSN and Comcast. I don't know if you've heard of Comcast. It's quite big, Comcast Infinity.
It's a startup.
They've been haggling over whether to place the network on Comcast's highest, most expensive tier or not. So if you were to buy the Comcast package, you would get then a free subscription to the Chicago Sports Network thing. And they, according to the Blackhawks, Comcast has made 0 offers, like 0, none. They want it added to the highest tier. The Chicago Sports Network want a middle tier to replace NBC Sports Chicago. And I had Blackhawks fans going, how come you're not talking about this? Because what a lot of people are going to have to switch to, and what Blackhawks fans have had to switch to, are antennas. They've had to get the antenna and get an over-the-air signal. And it's not downtown Chicago that's the problem. It's it's like Fort Wayne, like the areas around it, so you're not able to watch Connor Bedard. And what they're really thinking is going to move the needle is when the Bulls start playing in November. That is the thing, because the White Sox are fucking terrible.
You know what I think is going to move the needle? Dun 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 dun.
The Pirates of the Caribbean theme song?
Yeah. Why would that be in my head?
You're finishing strong.
I am finishing strong. No, you know what they should do is we should package these 3 things, and then these 2 giant companies should fucking argue about, are we going to put it in the most expensive? Nope.
Are we going to make $1 billion or
$1
billion plus another $100 million?
You think you're so much smarter than you are. They're just going to steal it. Or get disinterested in sports altogether and watch something else. There's too much shit, guys. Stop fucking with people. All of you. Not just CHSN. All these giant telecoms, all these giant companies. Everyone's going to turn into Johnny Depp and his dreadlocks, and they're going to steal it. Or they're going to watch, I don't know, fucking Love is Blind or some shit. Stop making people work a part-time job just trying to navigate around all your bullshit. One thing, where do I get it? How much is it? Here. That's it.
There are people today in Canada, and rightfully so, upset that they have to have 3 different subscriptions to watch hockey because you got to have TSN, you got to have Sportsnet, and you got to have Amazon now. And it used to be you had one cable bill, and people bitched about
Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime,
Not Amazon Now. That's Sportsnet.
I'm sorry.
I didn't even catch him saying that. I didn't even. I'm so used to it.
It's not Sportsnet now, Jesse. It's Sportsnet Plus,
which
it used to go head to head with TSN Edge, but now it's TSN Plus.
No, it's Sportsnet sometimes.
Edge Plus now.
Works.
Edging Plus now.
Awful. And you can't even get like all the games, like because they'll be blacked out. You know.
Oh,
like, even if you have all 3 subscriptions, you can't watch everything.
Dun 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 dun. You know what's free? Reddit's. Dun 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 dun.
The other thing is that like it's like if you wanted a regional blockout game, you got to have this level of Sportsnet because they got the national. Anyway, for the United States for football, it's insane. Drew was saying it's something like $700 if you want to have access to all of your team's Sportsnet.
17 games.
17 games because
That's so few games.
Because your team might be playing. Jesse, it's Thursday nights. It's what? It's Prime, right?
Thursdays are on Amazon Prime. Then Amazon also has like 2 Friday night games, and then this year they're introducing Netflix on Christmas. So at Netflix will have some games, and then you have all of the network television. So if you have
ABC,
network TV, you'll have a Comcast or DirecTV. So that'll be ABC, NBC, and CBS, and then you also have ESPN, who has Monday night games. So, yeah.
And isn't there a YouTube element to that too?
Yeah, YouTube has Red Zone. So if you want Red Zone, you got to get YouTube TV. Yeah.
And Red Zone for NFL, like hardcore.
Yeah,
NFL,
Red Zone's the best.
It's a non-starter. You can't not have it.
Yeah.
So and
Red Zone used to be on so you used to have like the TSN subscription, and you used to get it there, and then they created TSN Plus, and they put Red Zone into another tier of TSN. So if you had the regular TSN subscription, you don't get it anymore. Like I don't get it through my cable thing. I have to get the extra. Stop touching things.
Just open the thing I sent you.
No, it's Pirates of the Caribbean. I'm in the middle of talking. What do you think about all the Bally Sports being relaunched as FanDuel TV?
Yeah, I mean,
that starts today, right?
It's just so that starts today, and it's Bally Bally is like a workout company. And so what they did was they bought the rights to, I think it's a St. Clair broadcaster, or at least used to be. There's been so many changes, but St. Clair they made their money in like hardcore Christian challenge, like programming.
Brainwashing your aunt.
No, they made a ton of money there, and that as they were coming up, and then they kind of moved into other things. And so when they got the sports packages, Bally's, which is a fitness company, rightly was like, we're a fitness company and this is athletics. That makes sense. FanDuel, I guess that deal, the Bally deal is up. And to be honest with you.
No, because they went bankrupt, right?
Bally's?
Yeah.
No, the network went I think Bally's the company is okay.
But didn't FanDuel get this through the Diamond Sports proceedings?
Yes. Bally gyms. Bally Total Fitness. Yes, it's in Chapter 11 as well.
This is all through the bankruptcy. And that's why FanDuel is able to jump on the opportunity and relaunch so whenever you're watching like your Tampa Bay Lightning games or whatever, it'll be on FanDuel TV.
Right. And so anyway, long story short, FanDuel has bought the name rights in the same way that Bally has, and I think FanDuel actually has some pretty successful sports programming that they do in-house. So I think that will likely be a part of this. But I'm curious about this whole thing because I don't know, like, if regional baseball's not making you money and there's 100 million games.
There's far too many
There's
games.
so many games.
Yes.
How can regional hockey, which is lower rated, make you money?
Right?
Because like, regional hockey in Canada is very, very profitable. Like TSN makes a killing on regional games. I'm not having the national package. I'm in the States, hockey is like 7th or 8th rung.
I'm not condoning it, Adam, but there is this one service that people seem to be really getting hip to. Jesse, can you bring it up? It's called Yarr, Matey Plus.
We got there.
That's Jonathan Depp, I believe is his name. So if you're into swashbuckling and watching sports,
did you call it Yarr Matey?
Yarr Matey Plus might be for you. Make it easy.
Yeah.
For fuck's sake.
Yeah. I know.
Enough.
Let's do the press conference.
The Answer. SDP. The Steve Dangle Press Conference.
Your screen hasn't frozen. There you go. Thanks.
What?
Yarr.
Oh, here's the green other one.
Yarr, Matey plus.
Yarr, Matey plus. We're
just gonna
take it.
That Johnny Depp Amber Heard Netflix series that came out. What was it 2 years ago now?
Oh my God.
That thing was crazy.
That's crazy.
They did a documentary on that, and it's been up for 2 years.
Yeah. On the whole trial, it's awesome.
Dude,
I
how didn't
recommend you watch it.
I'm gonna have to watch
Gotta
that.
watch that. Also,
Yeah.
I just
perked
found
up
out
because I'm like, oh, they're making one.
I just learned yesterday there's an Alex Jones one on HBO
Oh no!
about his whole thing with why he started doing what he was doing and like where I was like, Natalie, have you seen this? She's like, yeah, it's a legal documentary with legal proceedings, of course. And I'm like, fuck, why did you tell me about this? So I'm gonna be watching that too.
How dare she?
Damn, two you need to watch.
Damn.
This is from Nordic on Twitter. Nordic97B writes, if you guys were to star in your own hockey movie, what would it be about? Who would you guys be? And what would it be, or would it not be Steve screaming the whole time? Would love some input. LOL. Love the show.
It'd be like that South Park episode where the Red Wings beat up a bunch of kids. And
That's a good episode.
And I'd be the kids.
Yeah.
So let's say you got to do, I think that's a great lane to go down. Let's say we're doing a Mighty Ducks style hockey movie where it's like the one on the U.S. team that won.
Oh, Miracle on Ice.
Miracle on Ice. That's what I was looking for. If you're doing something like that, a dramatic, they're doing it, overcoming the odds kind of hockey movie, what are you doing?
Well, Mystery Alaska, I don't know if you guys saw that, where Russell Crowe is a defenseman and they play the New York
Oi,
Rangers.
I'm from Alaska.
That is a low-key, very good hockey movie.
It is, actually.
But I think the best way to do it is take a formula that they really fucked up, which was Draft Day with Kevin Costner. And that should have been a really good movie. He's the general manager of the Cleveland Browns, and he's got the first overall pick, and what is he going to do with it? And like Dennis, who's the guy that's saying I'm an asshole?
Oh my God.
You know what I'm talking about?
Dennis Leary.
Dennis Leary's the head coach.
Yeah.
Jennifer Garner is his love interest. Not a lot of chemistry there. But the movie should have been really good, and it fell flat. And I still like it. But like, if you could do something like that NHL wise, where it's like a free agency and there's high stakes drama or something. The thing about hockey I have always found is when they shoot it, first off, it's American companies that do it. They don't know how to shoot it, and it never looks real. Mighty Ducks, you could get away with that because they're children. But if you're doing professional, hockey fans are going to be like, nah, this just looks like stupid.
What do you think of how Letterkenny shoots it?
I think they do a good job.
I feel like they do a good job.
Because they are hockey fans, right? And they have a Canadian production company who really gets it. And I'm not to say that there aren't those in the States. I'm just saying, like, if you're doing an MGM movie, I don't expect that the head of MGM is a huge hockey fan. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know.
So I'm looking at that and I go, take it off the ice and make the drama about the behind the scenes. Maybe you got a player who's like a little past their prime. They're a little slower. Do you re-sign them, or do you sign the hot shot from the other team who's kind of a dick? Kind of a dick. And maybe he's not great for the team culture. Do you go superstar, or do you go team culture?
Oh, Xavier Laflamme.
What's that?
It's from Goon.
Oh, it's from Goon. Oh, I never saw Goon.
It's a good movie.
Is it?
I've never
Good
seen
film.
Goon either.
What?
Yeah.
I'm the only person at this table who's seen.
Probably wrong. We should probably.
Yeah. Is it good?
I liked it.
Okay. Sean William Scott.
Which means, probably bad. I don't know.
I mean, like what Apple did.
That's a good point.
What Apple did with what's the Jason Sudeikis show?
SpongeBob.
Ted Lasso?
Ted Lasso, which is a funnier, goofier version and is in no real way real. But they kind of take those same tropes of like superstar player,
Yeah.
kind of a shitty attitude.
Yeah.
You know, guy who's a little bit hard knocksy and he's over the hill in terms of his career. I think you could do that with hockey.
I liked Ted Lasso. And then I was like, you're getting close. And then Nate spat at the mirror, and that was the moment I was out on Ted Lasso. I was like, nope, too much.
I didn't watch season 3.
Nah.
After season 2, I was like, I'm not sure I need to go any further with this.
I skipped Ted Lasso. I was like, this is not something I need to care about.
It was a palate cleanser
never
for
watched
a
it.
certain time in our history.
in the pandemic.
We were all miserable, and Ted Lasso was like, what about love?
Right.
And I was like, you know what?
Good point.
You're right, Ted.
We'd also gone to the bottom of the barrel on every streaming service because we were at home so much, right? Like people talked about, I've reached the end of Netflix.
Yeah.
There's nothing else to watch. And it's like, you can only rewatch Tiger King so many times, right? So Ted Lasso was like, oh, it's a new show.
Yeah.
What? They can't shoot anything right now.
Nah, there's so much good television.
There
Like,
is.
You could rewatch Sopranos 100 times. You could rewatch Succession 100 times.
Never seen Sopranos.
Yeah, that's a shame.
I got to watch that.
Yeah.
I got to watch that.
Yeah. Anyways, next question. This is from @DevilDownUnder. I have a question for Steve, they write. Given how absolutely fanatic you are about the Leafs and being a resident Canadian, why did it take you so long to physically get into the sport on a playing front? Not a lot of ice in the country Australia, I assume. The Devil Down Under is from there. Your show improves my every episode. Thank you.
There's a lot there. So I was in skating when I was 4 or 5. I liked it. I did okay. Like I didn't have to be dragged onto the ice. Like I had to do a few weeks ago with my son, who now loves it and got on by himself on Saturday. But like it wasn't in the cards for me as a kid. I go through this in the book. My sister was born when I was 3.5, very high needs, cognitive disabilities, physical disabilities. My dad was on disability actually from work for a long time. Mom was out of work for a while. It wasn't a good time in our family's lives, like right when everyone was getting into hockey. And I didn't push them on it. And I'm a kid, and it wasn't my job to push them really. If I had pushed them, maybe I would have, but then where would they have found the time and the money? Like that wouldn't have just magically appeared. It wasn't until I was 10 that my parents were like, well, if you want, we could put you in hockey now. And by then, like I had friends who played rep. It was a really good neighborhood, like in terms of hockey. I didn't want to be the one kid I didn't want to be the 10-year-old who sucked. And then that becomes 11 and 12, and now I'm 20, I don't want to suck. And I'm 25 and I don't want to suck. And then at 29, I got over myself and I was like, you know what? I'll do it. I'll try. We'll see.
Are you having fun with it?
I fucking love playing hockey, dude. I was playing Jesse. You're like tearing up, Adam.
No, it's nice.
You like I was playing Jesse on Friday.
I'm going to send you to the boards.
You did. It's the most. That is the best I've ever felt on skates.
Oh, yeah?
On Friday because I had a fucking killer workout. Legs feed the wolf, goddammit. I was glutes were fired up, quads, everything was going. And Jesse is so much better. So much better. They're like and he didn't say anything. Like it was just I was watching him from the bench once because we weren't out against each other. I was like, Jesse just did a bunch of crossovers. When the fuck did he learn those?
I'm trying to get really good at the stop up move when you're like coming into the zone. You do a little stop up, and I did try to do one on Friday. And Steve and I almost got one.
Yeah. Oh, if you'd scored that, I would have gone home with my equipment on. It was. I forced you to such a shit angle, and you shot it and it just missed the post.
Just went wide. Yeah. You got to score on it.
But like you also like learned how to like just protect the puck and skate with one foot. And I was like, when did you learn how to do any of this? And then it wasn't until the change room after you're like, oh yeah, I'm taking power skating.
It's not like power skating.
That's what you said.
No, Matt called it, your buddy Matt, our buddy Matt.
He called
it power skating. I was like, it's not power skating. It's like adult beginner skating classes.
But on top of our hockey.
Yeah. So
it's working.
Yeah, it's good. No, but you got to get on the ice. I feel like you would know that from trying to learn over the last couple of years. You got to do it a lot to get good at it.
Yes.
It's not enough even if you're skating. Like our hockey isn't even once a week. Like it'll be twice a month, because we're on and off some weeks. So you got to be on the ice frequently to get good at hockey. And that's the only downside of the sport growing up. And it leads back to this question is that hockey is expensive and it takes another playing surface that's not available to an average person just to play it. You know, you can't go outside all summer long and shoot a basketball.
Yeah.
You know, like that, you don't have that equivalent for hockey. Even if you're doing it with a stick and ball on the street, it's not the same. You need to get good at the skating part of it consistently to actually get good at hockey.
But there's a pressure in Canada at like being bad at hockey is not okay. Like if I were playing soccer with my friends, and, oh, Steve, you suck. Oh, whatever, fuck you. You know, or basketball. I was a terrible basketball player growing up. I was okay at soccer and like a few other things. But hockey, there's like a shame in it, you know? And I'm glad I had the base of I skated when I was really young. I think that made learning to skate easier. Like I never had to go through. I always have so much respect. You do see it with a lot of new Canadians. Is like the dude who has to like cling to the dasher.
I can't even like stand up on the ice.
I don't have a foundation of how to do this. But like it takes so much courage to do that, and because you're doing it at a public skate.
Other sports don't have the baseline where it's I can't stand on the playing surface.
Yes.
No
one's on a soccer field like,
if you've never played soccer before, you know how to walk.
Yeah.
Like if you've never played football before, you can stand on grass.
Most people even know how to drive if they're doing motorsports. Right?
You're a better F1 driver never having been in an F1 car than you are a hockey player never being on ice.
That's a
you
good
know how
point.
to drive.
Yeah.
Like the barrier to entry for hockey is so difficult.
Well, and like even a puck is so strange where you push it along the ice and you're like, oh, it's feather light. And then you go to take a shot and you're like, it's actually 50 pounds.
Yeah. The feeling of a puck is something that you can't really replicate until you're on the ice with a puck.
Yes. Yeah. I love it more and more every week. It's so much fun to play. I got fucking robbed on Friday. I was so upset about it. Do you remember that?
Get better.
Or was I do need to get good.
No, the goalie made a fantastic blocker save.
Julie the cat.
Looked like Igor out
blocker.
there.
Oh my God, I had the whole net.
Yeah, it was just
I had the whole net. It's the worst I've ever been robbed. I don't get enough opportunities to get robbed. And oh my God.
Get robbed.
It's also dangerous to learn how to play hockey. I gave a guy a concussion a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. That is part of sports, man.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
We did not know each other were there. We very quickly learned each other were there, and we both said, ow.
We can end on this. This is from Prince Per Skipple. How long until you change the follow the guys on Twitter extra to follow the guys on X? And I'm going to say probably never, because it's Twitter.
I'm not putting a lot of investment into Twitter anymore. I don't call it X because it always makes it sound like a porn site to me.
It's a bad.
It is.
It is
It's
a porn
terrible.
site now. Like it's insane. Like
if the porn sites you visit are also like, you want to see a beheading?
yeah.
Like
It's
holy
insane. I logged
fuck.
in on Thanksgiving weekend. I didn't log in. I opened my computer to show Natalie something, and there's Sydney Sweeney's boobs just right there. And she's like, "What were you looking at?" Because she's not on it. I'm like, this is what it is now. And in the crazy thing is, Jesse, when was it VIP last week? All the bots.
Yeah, there's so many stupid AI bots.
The
There's
underwear
very
bot.
little human traffic on it anymore. So to me, it's like I'll tweet stuff, but I'm not trying to gain a ton of followers or whatever. It's not something I'm going to invest in, right? Like if I'm going to invest time, I'll invest some time in Instagram, invest some time in TikTok, which I should probably post more on, invest all my time in YouTube, Spotify, Apple, which are not technically social media, but still. I don't know, man. Follow the guys on Twitter. Who calls it X? No one calls it X. The whole point of this
I would rather die
Jesus.
than call it X.
Wow.
Much less
Wow.
have imaging made calling it X. You know what's great is when you put years into building a platform of 250,000 followers, and then some absolute lunatic fucks it up. I think that's always very good. It's very good when you invest time and energy into something, and some guy for a meme fucks up one of the greatest tools of communication in human history.
Are you not a fan of Elon Musk?
He can go fuck himself.
I think it's a shame because not that it was particularly well run before, it wasn't. But you can always get worse, and it did. And I think I don't know. I look at it like I'm on for sports, but I don't even really go to Twitter for news anymore. I find it so It's so, even for sports, I'm like, I can't find the news that I need. So I've just got.
So where do you go?
So
where do
I
you
have
go?
literally gone back to, I always used it as like a hyperlink to like newspapers and articles and things like that. So now I just have an actual document that's a list of places that I check.
Yeah. Do you think most people do that?
No.
No. So the destruction of Twitter is explicitly to muddy the water and make it more difficult for people to get information.
Yep.
Compromat.
Good times. Anyway, I don't think we'll change it. It's a relic of an older time.
And here it comes.
What is it?
The extra.
It's Steve's next joke.
No, the extra that we're talking about where they follow the guys on Twitter. That was the... Yeah.
You know what's confusing? He's Jesse Blake on Twitter, but he's Jesse.Blake on Instagram.
Yeah, somebody has it. They had it.
Good.
Never got it.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection complete.